Welcome everybody to Spring into Wellness with STCC. We are so excited to bring this new program to you. The first of 3 great events that are going to be happening throughout the month. We're so happy that you joined us tonight because you're in for a real treat. Nadim has prepared a wonderful video that we're going to show momentarily, and then he will join us for a Q&A afterwards. So please bring your questions with you, and we'll be happy to entertain those at the end of the program. My name is Kelly Galanis. I am the Director of Donor Operations at STCC, and I'm very happy to bring this to you tonight. To kick us off, I would like to introduce our President, Dr. John B. Cook. Dr. Cook, would you please give us a warm welcome?
Good evening, Kelly. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Jen Brown, our Foundation Board President. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is phenomenal. Nadim, at the top, let me also say thank you so much for your talents, your investment in us. It's really, really appreciated. Just a couple of notes. I also want to echo the, as Keith said, and thank you, Keith, for always being behind the scenes here. The Spring into Wellness initiative is just a wonderful effort in partnership with the foundation. I think this type of learning series really speaks to the idea of how we try to demonstrate our care as an institution. It's a virtual celebration that really tries to marry this idea of education and wellness together in these ways with fun and enjoyable and local celebrities when you have the opportunity. And certainly every opportunity to do some fundraising in support of students. Let me thank our gold sponsors, Bay State Health, Smith & Wesson, and Collins Companies for really making this series possible. So my thank you to everybody for joining us. Again, Nadim, thanks so much and I'm excited. I'm excited to see it myself tonight.
It's my pleasure. Hopefully you're not going to be cooking at home now. You're going to be cooking, come here to us.
My wife and I are down there at least once a week.
Right. Really appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, Keith's gonna roll the video and bring your questions for afterwards and enjoy the show. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome to Nadim's Downtown. I am Nadim Kashouh. I'm the owner and chef here at Nadim's, located at 1390 Main Street in Springfield. And we also have our small location up at Stick, which we enjoyed cooking and feeding you up there. I got reached out to kind of put something together which can be easy and a meal that will last not only once, maybe 2 or 3 days. But what I came up with and what I wanted to show you is one of the main dishes that we have on the menu, which is called simmered chicken. One of my all-time favorite. Every time there's a cooking show, I always like to talk about it because it's loaded with flavor. It's one of the healthy dishes that you can have. And not only from what I'm doing right now, we're going to be able to do the simmered chicken. We can perhaps, with the leftovers, we can make a soup for the next day. Soup is always good right now. It's still a little chilly out there, and it's always a hit to have a soup. To start the recipe, it has to start with the meat. You can either do a chicken, which is what we're doing right now, or we can do a lamb, or we can do a beef. But for us, lamb, it's the healthy option to have, and to be honest with you, it's a less expensive way to do it. So what I did, and I already started on this one, so this way we're not going to bore you with the boiling of the chicken. Personally, I kind of like a whole chicken where you have some dark meat which has some moisture to it, but customers over here tend to like more of just the breast, which is fine. So we took two chicken breasts and we put them in water and we boiled them. You boil them till they're nice and tender. You want to make sure they fully cook. But in the Mediterranean, which is a region that is known for healthy food and great flavors, I know in Lebanon, and I know over here, my guys do make fun of me that I use a lot in the soups and other dishes, is the bay leaf and cinnamon stick. This will give any dish the sweetness to it. I don't use the ground cinnamon because it will overpower the flavor, and this will give it a nice hint, a smell of cleanliness in any dish. So I typically throw in maybe 2 and 2 of each and have them boiling in. So not only it will flavor the chicken, but it will also flavor the soup if we decide to make a soup out of this one. Chicken is boiling, and that's almost, it's not almost, it is ready. So right now what I'm going to do is we're going to move to making the rice. Simple recipe in a pot, of course. You take some oil. For us, we have everything kind of measured, and it gives us the consistency of having the same product over and over again. So we do some vegetable and extra virgin olive oil blend. This is, we buy it that is consistent like this. We'll take the meat, and we will take the oil, we'll take the meat, that's gonna go right in there. And then, as you can see, I haven't started the fire yet. I'm gonna change gloves. There's 3 spices that goes in there. There's black pepper, there's allspice, and there's ground cinnamon. So, and this dish, it's called hashui, but also we call it Nadim's over here. It has a nice sweetness to it. So the black pepper is gonna, this is probably, you're looking at, and I'm right here, I'm making, this is, again, everything is measured. This is 4 cups of rice. Now, if you don't want to do that much, that is fine. You can go down to 2 cups. You know, when I'm entertaining at home, we don't have a large party, I kind of size it down. But for 4 cups of rice, and what I use, again, you know, that's why I always say when you give a recipe, it's not going to be the same, even if I give it to you down to every measurement and every ounce, because the oil that I use here, it comes from a restaurant purveyor that you might not find out in the market. And same with the ground cinnamon. The ground cinnamon, we pay almost $15 a pound for that. But again, it's the cleanest spices that you can buy. Now you can find it cheaper, but it's not the same. So the meat goes in, with the oil goes in, and we have this is a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of black pepper. It's gonna go right in. And we have allspice right here. There's another half a spoon that's gonna go right in. And the ground cinnamon, this is we're gonna have a 3/4 of a spoon. So I'm gonna do a half, I'm gonna add another 1/4 to it. Before it starts, and don't ask me why, but there's no rhyme or reason, but this is what we do, and it seems like to be more consistent every time. So I with a glove, I take it and I kind of smash the meat with my hand. And what we'll do, it will mix all the meat together with all the spices, and then I fire it up. And we will start the cooking process. So now we'll switch to a spoon, of course. You don't want to burn yourself with the oil. Now, as you can see right over here, the chicken has been boiling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chicken and have it sit and cool down, because you don't want to handle it when it's hot. So we'll take the chicken. You can serve it as a whole. You can, what we typically do, we shred it over here at the restaurant. So that's the chicken. It's already complete and ready to go, nice and hot. And what I do is I'm gonna save the juice. We're gonna either use it in a soup, or we can just use water and then add some chicken base to it to give it more flavor. So by adding the chicken base to it, so now you have the beef flavor and you have a chicken flavor. Both those flavors will come together to give you a nice taste in your mouth. So if you want to use this one for chicken soup, easy recipe. You saute some onions, some carrots, some celery, and you add the broth to it, and then you can add the chicken. Then you can add rice. You can add, you know, noodles, flat noodles, whatever you can. You know, it will. This is a soup. You can do anything you want to do with it. So I'm just going to turn this one off. It will be hot by the time I need it for this one, and we'll have this one starting to cook right here. This is all the spices now. It's mixing right in. So just want to clarify something. The rice that we use here at the restaurant, we use a lot of rice. We probably use maybe 300 pounds of rice, maybe 200 pounds, not 300. It's 4 boxes of 50 pounds. We use it's a parboiled rice, which is partly boiled. And what will happen, it will, typically they say for each cup of rice, you're gonna use 2 cups of water. With this one, you're gonna use 1.5 cup of water to 1 cup of rice. So it will cut the amount of water that you use in one, and second will cut the cooking time from 20 minutes down to 7 minutes. So keep that in mind if you're following the recipe. If you're using parboiled, you gotta cut down the water. If not, just make sure you have the two cups of water. So what we're doing right now is we cooking the meat. We want it to brown. We don't want it raw, even though it's gonna cook in the rice, but it has to brown. Now, meanwhile, when this one is cooking, what we can do is, if we're gonna use this water in the rice, that's one thing. We'll leave it alone. We add a little bit more chicken base to it. Now, if we want to use it in soup, we'll leave it alone and we add some chicken base to it just to add to intensify the flavors. Or we can use this broth to make a gravy that goes right over here. To make a gravy out of that broth, add a little bit more of black pepper, a little bit of the chicken base to give it more flavor. But the key is to thicken it. There's two ways. There's the right way to do it, which you're going to use something called the roux. Roux is a combination of equal amount of butter and flour. On the stove, you melt the butter, you add the flour, you mix it together. It will become a solid paste, and that's the right way to thicken a gravy or a soup. Or if you want to cheat a little bit, you're going to use a cornstarch, which I personally don't recommend because it's not good for your stomach. It kind of works in a different way. So either way, so to make the gravy, we're gonna take. I'm gonna take this broth right now, and for this I will use the water. I'll use this one for a gravy. So to make a gravy, we're gonna grab a pot right here, and while the rice is cooking, the meat is cooking over here. You're gonna be careful with the spoons. You know, multiple times we reach the spoon and it's hot. You know, those stoves right over here, they run, this right over here runs at a 200,000 BTU. Typically the one at home that you have, it runs 40 to 50,000 BTU. So this is like 4 times much powerful than the stove that you have at home. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this one right here. I'm just gonna drain it back in. The reason why I'm doing that is I want to make sure nothing else gets into it as far as the there you go. I could have strained it, but I didn't have one over here, so I figured I'll just. So meanwhile, this one right over here, if you take a look, the meat is already cooked. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the rice and we're gonna add it right to it. And while I'm doing this one, I'm just gonna grab some water. And while the water is getting ready, just gonna mix it all together, kind of blend it with the rice. Okay. So we said 1.5 amount of the water. So we had half, so this is going to go 3/4 the way. And we're going to dump more, and it's going to go right in here. Okay. And we're going to add the chicken base to it. I'm going to save it a little bit right over here. I'm just going to put it in the roux. Always make sure it's dissolved. If you or one of your guests bite into it, it has a saltiness to it that is not funny. So you want to make sure the lump of chicken base is dissolved completely. So this one right over here is boiling. Very simple. It's not going to take much of a roux right here. You can please keep in mind, you can always add, but you can't take out. So what I do a little bit at a time and dissolve it. And then if I need a little bit more, I can always add more to it. You see how it's getting thicker over here? You can still see it on the bottom. You see it comes up. You want to make sure that's all dissolved. What do you think? Should we add some more to it? I think it can use a little bit more, so we'll do. I'm just gonna go take those and drop them right in. If you're gonna use it right away, to eat right away, don't go too thick, because what's gonna happen, if you're gonna have some left over for the next day, it's gonna thicken. If you're gonna eat right away, make sure you thicken it to texture, and then it'll be good to go. That's awesome, perfect. So what I'm gonna do just a little bit, a pinch of black pepper, just for flavor. That goes right in. All right. Just turn it down a little bit. This one right over here. We have a bad habit over here at the restaurant, and unfortunately it comes with me home. I'll be cooking and I'll go like this at the house, and I forget that I'm not at work. I don't have an apron, so I can't go this. So you can see me over here, but this is a bad habit to pick at home. All right, we're gonna let this one boil. When it boils, we turn it down. We're probably gonna boil it for 7 minutes. You know, again, depends on the stove that you're working with. You might have to give it maybe a minute or two, but usually the standard for us is 7 minutes. But again, we have a very powerful stove right over here. You know, this one that you can use a turkey if you don't want to do the chicken. If you want to use lamb, you can. You're gonna boil it, but with the lamb, it'll take much longer for it to boil. Either that, or you can roast a leg of lamb, you know, but that takes 3-4 hours if it's not spiced. And we serve it with that hashi rice, which is fantastic. It's kind of a holiday dish that we do. And as far as the meat in the dish over here, you don't have to use ground beef. You can use ground lamb, you can use turkey, whatever makes you happy, I guess. So this is ready to go. This is fantastic. What I can do meanwhile, you know, is I can take that and just take it and drop it right in the gravy. It stays nice and moist and juicy. Oh, I'm telling you, one of my all-time favorite dish. So this is boiling. I make sure I scrape everything on the bottom. We want all the spices to blend. Yeah, I'll give it maybe another 6 minutes. Should be done. You multitask, man. You know, if you don't find a cover, you use a pot, man. You know, you do whatever you need to do. This one right over here. This is roasted almonds. You know, you take them with a frying pan, a little bit of oil, and you saute them, and it gives it a nice flavor and it gives it a nice crunch to it. It's like having a salad. You know, I add it to my salad. I'm trying to stay away from the pita chips and the fattoush salad. So I do like a Met salad, and I throw in the, you know, it gives it a nice crunch to it, adds a lot of flavor to it. Ah, look at the rice. See, that's it, done. Done. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Do you smell it? Can you smell it? You can't smell it. It's too bad it doesn't have a smell sensor. This is fantastic. So what we do is we just let it sit for maybe a minute, just for the rice to absorb the water, and we'll be good to go. Are you ready? I'm just gonna do a small sample just a small sample to show you for here, and I'll pack it to go, gentlemen, because I know unless you want to eat here, it's up to you. So you take the rice. Oh. Look at that. And we take the almonds. That's it. Now, if you want to add some color to it, you can always add parsley. You can always add mint. You know, just to give it some color. You always eat with your eyes. That's it. You don't want to go too crazy on the parsley. It will change the flavor of the dish. So, what do you think? So, this is how we do it, you know. It's healthy food. Doesn't take how long it took. half an hour maybe.
Well, that was very exciting. I'm hungry already. So, thank you so much, Nadim. That was an exciting video to see, and it looked very simple for all of us to give a try, for sure. But I want to know who here has questions. A quick little intro about Nadim. I'm sure many of you already know the name for sure, but Nadim's Mediterranean cuisine has been a favorite dining experience in Western Mass since 2000, operated by Nadim himself. Nadim's Mediterranean cuisine is known as the go-to destination for authentic Mediterranean food. Nadim's Mediterranean cuisine offers dine-in, takeout, order online, private parties, and catering. Voted best Middle Eastern restaurant year after year after year by Valley Advocate. Woohoo! Stick's also the best community college, so yay, we share good company. So welcome, Nadim. Please, we'd love to hear your questions. Who would like to go first? I have a question here. Okay. We have, and you can either pop on and directly speak to Nadim, or you can just put them in the chat and I will go ahead and read them. And so the first question is, do you have a favorite vegetarian dish or vegetable dish? Yes. And you're muted.
Well, I thought you can read lips, but okay. Well, unfortunately, one of the favorite vegetarian dishes, it's called moussaka, but it's unfortunately it's a Lebanese moussaka, not the Greek moussaka. It's eggplant with chickpeas and onions and garlic cooked in tomato sauce. That's, you know, I do it once in a while for me, but for what I have on the menu right now, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I just had like 4 of them, the vegetarian grape leaves, and it's I don't want to call it a problem, but it's for me it's easy access to that food. And we just cooked them, so it's nice and hot. So I just picked on 4 before I came down for this Zoom meeting. But yeah, grape leaves is one of my favorite, and I have a vegetarian rice, which is rice and lentils, one of the healthiest dishes that you can have. There's really just the rice, lentil, and the seasoning. You know, in the Mediterranean, we use a lot of herbs for flavor. We don't use any fat, butter, or heavy oil. So yeah. So I can sit here and list a lot of stuff that's all my favorites, but I'm not gonna do that.
Awesome, delicious. Denise Hurst says, thank you, Nadim. I love your food, as you know. In the recipe you just shared, how long did you boil the chicken, and why did you opt for parboiled rice? Is it healthier?
The parboiled rice has nothing to do with the quality of the rice or healthiness of the rice. It's a faster way for us to cook rice. You know, Denise is a great customer here at the restaurant and a great friend as well. And she didn't have to twist my arm. She asked me, and I said I would love to do that. But yeah, we use a lot of rice here, so time is of an essence, especially when you're in the middle of lunch or dinner and we have to move dishes fast, so we have to cook it fast.
Awesome. Andrea Tarpey would like to know if she can replace the rice with riced cauliflower in the recipe you just made for us.
You know what, you can certainly try. I don't know how well will it cook, how much time does it need. You can certainly try it. I'm not sure if it works, but if you're willing to try, it doesn't hurt.
Any modifications, you can always give it a shot, right?
Right. But the thing is, we've been doing this dish. I've been in business for 21 years, and this has been the same recipe from I don't want to say from day one. Before I even opened the restaurant, when I was hosting parties at the house, we made the hashwi, we made this, and it's another one of the dishes that I picked out of the air. It's really one of my favorite dishes to have, and that recipe hasn't been altered for many, many, many years.
You don't mess with success, right?
But you know what? That's the key. And I had one of the best compliments from my dad. God rest his soul. He passed away 3-4 years ago. He says, "If you tell your mother, I will deny it, but your hashwi rice, it's much better than hers." So, okay,
I'll put that away in the vault.
I told my mother after he passed away, she started laughing, but
that's
it was
oh my goodness. Well, Andrea says she's going to let you know how it turns out. So,
awesome. Maybe she can drop me off a sample.
Yes, right. Someone would like to know how you got into the food business.
Ooh, Yeah, that's an interesting story. When I married my wife back in '94, neither one of us know how to cook, and one of us had to learn. And I ended up, I always enjoyed cooking, um, and we hosted a lot of parties, and people loved the food. From the chicken kebab, from the rice pilaf, the fattoush salad, the hashwi with the simmered. I said, you know what? I wasn't happy with my job. I was in the jewelry sales. I was in the business for 5 years. Selling. I was a pearl buyer for a big company in Boston, and I opted to take a chance. And I worked my butt off. And 21 years later, I'm still here, and it worked. It worked. Customers see how hard you work to take care of them, and the kind of quality of the food that we put out, and they appreciate that they support that. That's for sure.
That's awesome. We got a question here that's I don't have a question actually, but would just like to say I've had Nadim's food twice and it was delicious. I actually have the urge to go and order now.
There you go. Come on down.
Come on, we're supposed to make it in our own houses after seeing that video, right?
No, no. We'll do the cooking. We'll do the dishes for you.
Oh my goodness.
I was going to jump in on that earlier question. It's a little surprising, Nadim. I would have thought you grew up, cooking at your mother's knee at 4 years old or something like that. It's amazing to realize this was like not something that you did from such a young age. It's amazing to hear that.
Yeah, growing up, I'm very quickly. I was born in '64, in Monrovia, Liberia, and we moved back to Lebanon in '74. My father bought a hotel, him and his brothers. So I was working in the hotel. So I don't want to say I was always involved. I was young, but I enjoyed, more the serving of the food than the cooking of the food. And this is a business. If you go in it thinking you got to be making money, you're in the wrong business, because it needs passion, it needs dedication. Let me tell you, you saw that sign that says Impossible Kitchen or Kitchen Impossible. The stuff, if I tell you, I'll share with you the story why that thing went up. You will, it's mind-boggling what we do. But I love what I do. I enjoyed selling jewelry, but this is where my passion is. Plus, I don't have to pay for me dining out. I eat for free.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely, Dr. Cook.
Nadim, how has business been since COVID?
Surprisingly not bad.
Mm-hmm.
When the governor came out with closing down the dining room, we went into a dip for a couple of weeks. But luckily for me, as a guy that loves technology, we had an online platform, and that's what I did. I shifted promoting the dining room and the business in-house to takeout, and it kind of took off. Are we down from 2019? Of course we are down. And keep in mind, for us, we were running the cafeteria at Stick up there, so that revenue from up there, it disappeared as well. Mm-hmm. So, but luckily, it's a healthy company. We work very hard. I have a great team that works for me. They are dedicated to make sure, as when a customer come in here, to be well taken care of, well fed, and when you do that, there's no way you can go wrong. So oops, I'm sorry. So it kind of kept us in the black. Thank God.
Great. Oh no, that's good to hear. We're happy to hear you're still around and doing well. What is your best dish at the restaurant? Your best selling dish, I should say.
Well, my number one seller here at the restaurant in an appetizer is hummus, no doubt. But when it comes to an entree, chicken is the most popular dish that we have. Mm-hmm. And chicken kebab is by far, we go through 400 pounds of chicken just for kebabs. So it's kind of a mix between the chicken kebab. It's either going to go with the rice or it's going to go with a salad, and those are the number one seller. Now, again, we have a lot of stuff, but nothing compares to the sales of the chicken, which I'm okay with, as long as they come in somehow. So we'll take it.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
we,
but
you know,
I
we love
wanna,
our fatouche salad, so.
yes. But you asked me, I wanna tell you what is my favorite dish to have here at the restaurant, and it always brings memories to me, because growing up, my mother, she was a homemaker. I'm 56 years old, so back then she was, and I can count on one hand how many times I came home and she wasn't home. And let me tell you, the house felt very cold when she wasn't there. But our meal for lunch always was a stew. So either being a chicken or a lamb or beef, but it has to be a hearty stew that is served with a salad and a starch. And if you ask me what I had for lunch today, I had the lamb cannellini stew, which is fantastic, but this is something that I can sit and enjoy. When it comes to the kebabs was something that we eat on a Sunday when the family gathers, and we fire up the grill and we cook on it. So the
Great.
stew, it's a must, and it changes every day.
That's awesome. Someone would like to know, in your video, you mentioned something called a black noodle. What is that?
Maybe flat noodle.
Flat.
No black.
Okay, flat.
Yeah, no black.
No, I was like, that sounds interesting. It almost sounds Japanese to me.
Yeah,
So
right.
I'm not sure. Okay, got it. And then Dr. Cook has a question. Since this is a cooking piece, can you talk a little bit about those shortcuts? You mentioned not to use cornstarch, for example. And is there any other examples where it might be better tasting if we avoid those shortcuts?
That's a good question.
I just want you to know we are paying attention. I mean, you move pretty quick, and you clearly could see your way around a kitchen still, but we are paying attention to the advice like that.
Well, for me, when you cook in, and you can never rush a meal, so you have to let things cook and take time. You know what I mean? So sometimes I'll tell my guys, it's okay if the customer wait, but let's cook it the way it should. Nice and slow. There's nothing. We have one item that we cook on high heat, which is actually two items, which is the Delmonico steak, and we have the lamb steak. Those we cook in a skillet. And of course, when you cook in a skillet, you have to cook on a high heat. But everything, even on the grill, we turn it down. It's not fully fired up. So, there's not we don't do shortcuts over here. I'd rather not use something because it's not healthy for you. Cornstarch, it can do a trick on your stomach. You know what I mean? So that's why I stay away from it. So one of my guys, for example, on the gravy, he wanted to use a cornstarch to thicken the gravy. I said, no, I really need to have it done the right way with the roux, which is the butter and the flour together. So I don't, I can't think of shortcuts because we don't have them.
No, I appreciate that very much. And I feel like, in a lot of other recipes you'll see in a cookbook or online, that there does seem to be a lot of cornstarch. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no. We very seldom use it. Very, very seldom.
So knowing that the chicken is the popular choice for most of the dishes there, are you worried about the projected chicken shortage in the news? Aren't we all? Last year was toilet paper, now it's chicken. So,
Ellie, it is crazy, and unfortunately, and I have to say it, when the minimum wage went up 75 cents, we did not go up on prices. But looking at the prices now, just to give you an example, the chicken we used to buy the case for $60. Right now it's $85, so that's almost 50% more. Chicken wings, $95, it's $140. And it's not that there's a shortage of product, there's a shortage of people that want to work. And it's the same problem that we have right now. I don't know if you watch my Facebook or you got my emails. We always promoting, we're looking to hire. I even putting out that we have a sign-on bonus as well. So that's gonna be a problem. Unfortunately, we are for profit over here. So if things go up, we're gonna have to go up. But I don't think it's gonna come down. I think when something goes up to a certain point, it's gotta stay up there. But yeah, it's a kind of sticky situation right now.
It sure is. Well, we wish you the best with that. My goodness.
Yeah, thank you.
I would
Thank
be
you.
sad if we couldn't get the chicken for your wonderful dishes. So
There is, and unfortunately, there's a shortage of people to work in those plants and the shortage of drivers. This is a main problem on a national level. So.
Andrea says she misses the kebabs at STCC. And can you share with us what is in the mayo condiment? I assume it is homemade that you serve with the kebabs.
Well, she called it mayo. That's a wrong name to call it, but it's okay. We gotta forgive you, Andrea. But
we learn here tonight. So
you know, we do offer cooking classes, and seldom people think that I'm gonna be teaching them the tomb, and come to find out, this is the one recipe I won't teach. Again, I've been doing this since before I opened the restaurant. Again, like I said in the video, it's all in the product that we use. You know, the tomb it's a really simple recipe, but the key to that is the oil that we use, which is 75% vegetable oil and 25% extra virgin. It's already blended. We buy it blend. There's eggs in there. There's of course the garlic. There's lemon juice and there's salt. But the key to putting that dish together or that condiment is the machine. It's a very high-speed machine that whips it through and flushes it out. And we have the oil measured every time it goes in, because if you go a little less, it will be tart. It has strong flavor as far as the garlic. And if you go a little extra on the oil, it's gonna solidify. You know, it's gonna water it, and it's gonna go bad. So yeah, but this is we sell it by the jar. By the way, I don't know if you know that.
Wow. Oh, really? Okay. That's good to know.
That and the dressing and the, yes, absolutely.
Well, that's great.
Anyway, we can get a buck out of you guys.
Andrea says she's very sorry for calling it mayonnaise.
I'll forgive her. She has to come down twice a week. That's right.
That's right. Diane would like to know, she's never prepared roux in advance. How long can you keep it for? Is there a trick to ensure it isn't lumpy in the sauce?
Well, if you're not going to use it, it can sit in the fridge for a long time. You know, there's no expiration. There's nothing that goes bad. There's the butter and the flour. And the trick to make sure it's not lumpy, you're going to have to add a little bit at a time. And as you can see, and which was a little annoying, is just whisk it to make sure it blends. So now if you get any lumps in it, not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. You can just strain it and you'll be good to go.
Cool. So it can be revived in a sense.
It can be. Everything is revivable over here.
That's great. Anyone have any other questions? Oh, let's see. Diane says, thank you.
My pleasure.
And feel free to pop on and speak if you guys would like to be so brave. I don't have to field all the questions. It's fine, whatever.
Everybody's hiding behind the camera.
While we're waiting to see if there's any last minute questions, I just want to remind folks we have 2 more events in our series. And the next one will be on May 18th, which is another Tuesday night. It's a financial wellness checkup with Professor Anthony Rondinelli. He is wonderful, a genius with the finances and the money and numbers and all that sort of thing. So absolutely check that out. We certainly could use a little guidance with our finances, especially throughout the pandemic. So definitely check that out if you are available to do so. Of course, these are all free and open to the public. So tell all your friends to join us. And then on June 1st, we're going to have total and holistic wellness practices with Sheila Magalhaes. She's the owner of Heart Song Yoga. And she's going to do a live yoga demonstration. She's going to tell us a little bit about some practices we can do to kind of keep ourselves sane and collected and calm throughout all the stressful things that we might be experiencing right now. And she'll, of course, do a Q&A, as will Anthony. So please do join us for those. You can register at stcc.edu/wellness, learn more about those programs. And of course, if you would like to sponsor or support us, we would be happy to welcome that as well, because this does all go to support our student programming. So thank you all so much for attending. I would like to thank our sponsors, Bay State Health, the Collins Companies, and Smith & Wesson, who generously sponsored these events to bring to you tonight. So we are very, very fortunate and thankful for those companies for doing that. Any last minute questions? It looks like everyone's just saying thank you so much. Nadim, it's been truly a pleasure. I really hope to get down to Springfield soon so I can come and enjoy some of these fabulous dishes. I'm not sure I'm ready to hit the kitchen just yet to figure this out myself. So I think I'm just going to come and visit you. But thank you so much. And we will hope to see you very, very soon in person.
It's my pleasure. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.
See you on the 18th sometime.
Take care, everyone. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.